Hey y'all, it's Jen and welcome back to my channel, First Inklings. In this series of videos, I will be discussing the short stories in Snow and Love, which is a collection of 4 short stories by Melissa Delacruz, Nick Stone, Amy Friedman, and Kasie West. Now, just as a disclaimer, I am not a literary major in any way. I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but I hope that we have a learning experience together, diving through these short stories and picking out themes and in the text and discussing them together. Now again, I want to emphasize that this is a discussion video. So these short stories will be discussed in depth and there could be spoilers. If this is a collection you are interested in reading and have not done so yet, go ahead and click out of this video, pick up the collection, and come back after you've read the story so that we can discuss them together. Hey y'all, it's Jen and welcome to my channel, First Inklings. Today I have a short story discussion for you. This is the short story from Snow and Love. It is the very first one in the book that I'll be talking about today, and that is Snow and Mistletoe by Kasie West. So this is a 73-page short story that takes place over the hour of about 72 hours. We first meet these characters on December 22nd at just before 5 p.m. and then we leave them on Christmas Day, 8 a.m. Christmas morning. So there are a few themes in this that I really picked up on. Failure and how that impacts yourself. So it's more like self-failure in your self-imposed failure, I guess, in your achievements, where you feel like a failure because if you don't achieve your own goals. Love, and it's different kind of love. It's love of family, love of self, love of friends, romantic love as well. And all of the things that that kind of love, those types of love entail. And then there's family, whether you're a traditional family or the family of siblings, you know, the familiar bond of siblings, or traditional family roles, mom, dad. And then we also have acceptance, and that is the theme of accepting yourself, accepting and having other people accept you as well. In the beginning of the story, we meet Emily, and she is coming home. She's a senior in high school, so 17 years old, and she is coming home from Italy, where she has been studying as an exchange student for the past 4 months. Her parents don't know she's coming home. She flies into Denver, and there is a massive snowstorm that has grounded all flights. So she is trying to rent a car to drive back to Fresno, California. And of course, being 17 years old, she has no money. She can't rent a car. Also, she can't even rent a hotel room because she doesn't have the money. Then we meet Sawyer, who is a classmate who happens to be in Denver trying to get home from a weekend snow trip with his sister and his 2 best friends. Well, the sister is 21 years old, so she is able to rent a car to get them home, and Sawyer tries to convince Emily to go home with, drive home back with them. And she's like, you know, I probably shouldn't do this. We don't really know each other. Just because we're classmates, we don't really know each other. At first, she declines the ride home with them, but she justifies it by trying to think of 3 things, 3 facts she knows about him. She knows his last name. She knows he won the best smile as a junior in their high school annual, and that he loves snowboarding. So she's like, oh, wait, that's 3 things that I know about him. Hold up, let's go. I want to come with you. And so over the course of the next 70 pages, it talks about their trip and the different stops and them getting to know each other. At one point, they play this fun little game that they call Facts About Sawyer, or Getting to Know Sawyer, or something along those lines. And it's where everybody tries to tell a fact about Sawyer to let Emily feel a little bit more comfortable. And it's supposed to be more of a getting to know you type of thing. So it's supposed to be about everybody in the car as well. But as it turns out, they just tell facts and stories about Sawyer. Well, we learned that Sawyer never turns down a dare. We also learned during this that Sawyer has had a crush on the same girl since 9th grade. Even though he's dated other people, he has had this unrequited love for this one girl since 9th grade. They've talked, but not anything, they don't hang out, they don't run in the same crowd. So his sister and Emily are like, have you, talked to her? Have you asked her out? You've had this crush on her since 9th grade and you haven't done anything about it. And so they suggest that on this road trip that he picks up little trinkets for her for Christmas, about the, different stops on the way home. And on Christmas Day, he gives her these gifts, and then he can tell her that, hey, I've been thinking about you, and share the story of this journey home from Denver to Fresno. And, I mean, at this point, I think we've all figured out who his crush is. But it's a cute little thing, and he was like, okay, that's cheesy, but whatever, let's do this. And so at the next stop, he picks something up at every stop. So throughout this story, Emily doesn't really mention that she doesn't have any money with her, but I think that Sawyer has picked up on this, because the first stop they make is in a little resort town in Colorado, and they go off to breakfast. And she doesn't. She's like, I'm gonna go check out a shop and I'll get something later. But she was trying to find a place where she could get cheap food, a grocery store or a McDonald's or something like that, instead of this diner. And she's not able to do it. There's not one close enough. And so she goes into this little shop. She picks up this little satchel of smelly good stuff. She's just about to go back to the diner when the boys walk in. And she goes and sits out with her little purchase, and as she's coming out, Sawyer's like, oh, hey, breakfast was great, but there was a lot of it. Do you want my leftovers? And so she takes his leftovers and eats that. And afterwards, they come out, the boys come out of the store. She's still sitting on the bench, having just finished eating. And he asks her, what's in the bag? What'd you buy? I'm going to read this little passage because it's a cute exchange that shows you kind of their back and forth. What did you buy? He asked, nodding towards the bag on my lap. Christmas. You bought Christmas? That sucks for the rest of us. It really does. I opened the bag and held it out to him. Smell. Smell? I dare you, I said in a deep voiced impersonation of Wes. Ouch. Sawyer grabbed at his chest. But you know me, I can't turn down one of those. He leaned over the bag and took a whiff. Oh, he said in surprise. That is Christmas. And then she asks what he bought, and he says, a gift for my mom and a gift for, you know who. And then he was like, oh, but I picked you up something too, and hands her a pair of socks, because she's wearing Converse and her socks are soaking wet and her shoes are soaking wet because they're traipsing through the snow in Converse. And she's like, you bought these for me? And he says, Converse aren't great in the snow. So I think that's a really sweet representation of their getting to know each other. There's another scene later on in the book where because it's late at night, the roads are super slick again, and they start sliding. So the sister, Heather, decides it's time to find a motel, and they're going to stop for the night because it is just too dangerous for them to keep going. And they take turns. They get one room. They take turns, and in it, they've got 30-minute increments in the shower. So Heather goes first, and then the other two boys, then Sawyer, and then Emily. And Sawyer he goes to the gift shop to see if they have a gift shop to find a gift for his crush, since this is a stop that they've made. And he brings back a toothbrush for Emily because her luggage has been detained on the flight. She couldn't get it, so all she has is this carry-on that has absolutely nothing in it of any kind of use. So she has no toiletries, no change of clothes, nothing. And so he brings her back a toothbrush, which I thought was super sweet too, and super observant and thoughtful, which is things that describe Sawyer to a T. Then, so everybody else gets a shower. When Sawyer comes out from his, he's like, hey, I left an extra clean shirt in there for you. You're welcome to use it. Also left some toiletries. Feel free to use them as well. So that was really sweet of him. But she comes out of the shower and finds that the closet door is cracked and there's a light coming from it. Well, Sawyer's in the closet reading. So they go in there, they talk, and she starts telling him her facts about her because she didn't offer any when they were in the car playing that little game. And she finally admits to him that she couldn't hack it in Italy and that she's coming home because the pressure was too much. She was at a very competitive school for singing, which was her dream. And he was like, I've heard you sing. You're fabulous. And so they talk about that and the disappointments and the failure and the pressure. And he's like, maybe you just need to figure out why you love singing and get back to what makes singing mean something to you. And so at this point in the story, Emily is really starting to kind of fall for Sawyer. And she makes this statement. She says, you know, your girlfriend might end up being the jealous type. True, she might be. That is, if this whole gift plan of yours works. It will, I assured him. I hope you're right, he said. I hoped I was wrong, but I knew that it was a very selfish thing to hope for, so I quickly made the opposite wish. And so that's pretty exciting stuff there. Of course, we knew how this would play out, right? This is a YA contemporary romance short story. It only ends one way. So it's Christmas Eve at this point. They're about to hit Vegas, and everybody's like, Emily's never been to Vegas. We've got to stop at the Strip. We can eat at one of the buffets, and we can show her this, you know, and they start naming off all these places, and Heather's like, dude, y'all, we're trying to get home before the snow. It's Christmas Eve, and we still have 9 hours to go. We're not going to Vegas. And so anyway, they convince her to stop in Vegas on the way home, and they do. They eat at a buffet, and they take her to see the pyramid at the Mirage. No, the volcano at the Mirage. And then they wait for the fountains at the Bellagio. Wes is trying to get him to go somewhere else. He's like, the Fremont Street is way cooler than this. And Sawyer's like, no, Emily will love this. She will like this one better. And so they're standing in front of the fountain waiting for it to come on, and then the music starts and the fountain starts, and it is Oh Holy Night, which happens to be Emily's favorite Christmas song. And of course she's mesmerized. And this is a quote on page 60 that I marked. Right after she watched the fountain at the Bellagio. It says, this is why I loved music. Not because it brought me attention or won me praise or earned me spots in a showcase, but because it could affect emotions. It could speak to a person's soul. It spoke to my soul. And that's a really amazing quote about music, and I really love it because I know a lot of people really feel that way. I feel that way. Music says things that when I can usually find the way I feel through song lyrics when I can't put it into words myself. So they pull up to Emily's house just right after midnight on Christmas Day, and keep in mind that her parents still have no idea she's coming. They think she's still in Italy. But Sawyer walks her to the door, and you know, she's like, oh wait, I picked you up a gift at one of these stops. And she hands him a 99-cent bookmark that has a songbird on it. And we had learned earlier that her mom called her her little songbird, so that was something specific to Emily, and Sawyer loves reading. So giving him a bookmark is, you know, was very thoughtful of her as well. So she decides not to wake her parents up when she gets home. She just goes straight up and gets into bed. The next morning, she wakes up, she can smell her dad cooking bacon. She can hear her mom come downstairs and kind of start setting the table and things like that. And then her brother, she hears him get up. She waits for all of that to happen, and then she goes downstairs and surprises them. And of course they're shocked, but they're glad to see her. And she just tells them, hey, I'm not going back to Italy. I'm sorry. I know it was a lot of money. You know, I'll get a job, I will work to pay for it, but I just can't do it. My heart isn't there, and I need to get back to finding music and loving music the way that I love music. And of course her parents are like, it's okay, you know, no big deal, whatever. But then they freak out. They're like, your presents are in Milan. We shipped them to you in Italy. What are we gonna do? And she's like, Mom, Dad, you know, this being home with family is the best present I could have. Then the doorbell rings. And Sawyer is standing there with her luggage. And she's like, what? And he's like, I thought you might want your suitcase, you know. He said, I picked it up. My dad said it was there and I picked it up. His dad happens to be a pilot. By the way, we learned that earlier in some of their facts. And so she's ecstatic, all that. And then he hands her a shoebox wrapped. And he's like, I got you something. And she's like, did you feel bad for, you know, for me buying you that cheap 99-cent Christmas gift? And he was like, yeah, this is to make up for it. I felt bad. And she opens it up and she realizes it is all the things that he picked up on the trip. And it takes her a minute. You know, at first she's like, did he buy me gifts at the same time as his crush? I want to hear all about his crush. How did that work out? And by the time she opens up the third little gift in this shoebox, it dawns on her, oh, I'm the crush. And so of course she jumps up and she's ecstatic and everything works out. So through that you can see where there were the themes of failure and acceptance, and family and love. And it was a really cute story. I really enjoyed it. I am totally smitten with Sawyer myself. I need an age-appropriate Sawyer in my life. That's it. That's my discussion on this short story. I really enjoyed it. Of course, I love Kasie West, and this was a great example of her writing and why I love her so much, and her other young adult books. So if you've read this short story, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. Did you enjoy it? How did you feel about the cute little gift exchange? And did you pick up on some different themes in this short story than I did? What did you think about Sawyer? What did you think about Emily? What did you think about Heather? I really enjoyed all those characters, and I would absolutely read a full-length book about these characters. Hopefully Kasie will write one of those sometime. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Give me a like, subscribe, share, and be sure and leave me a comment down below. And be sure and tune in next Sunday when I have another short story discussion video. And until then, I will talk to you later. Bye.